Okay, so today we're going to be looking at curve sketching. So section 4.1 talks about determining when a function is increasing or decreasing. So as you can recall, you can determine if a function f of x is increasing or decreasing by finding the derivative, f prime of x, and then basically choosing a point or an interval on f prime of x and finding its value. If you find that f prime of x is less than 0 or negative, then f of x is decreasing that same interval. If f prime of x is greater than 0, then f of x is increasing during that interval. So when f prime of x is negative, we have f of x decreasing, and when f prime is positive, then we have f of x, which is increasing. So why does this occur? Well, the reason why is because the derivative of a function f of x is also the slope of the tangent of that same function. When the slope is negative, it means that the function y value decreases as its x value increases. When the slope is positive, it means that the function y value increases as its x value increases. So here we have a function that is, as we can see, we have our first x and y value, and we have our second x and y value. As we can see, as our x value increases, our y value increases. Therefore, this slope is positive, and that means that it is increasing. As you can see here with this one, we have our x value and our y value, and our x value and our y value here. And as we see x increase, we see that y is decreasing. Therefore, this is a decreasing slope or function. Next, we're going to talk about the critical points, local maxima, and local minima. So basically, the critical points of a function f of x refer to the local minimums and maximums of the function f of x. You could determine the critical points of a function f of x by finding the derivative f prime of x and finding its zeros. So when we solve the derivative of a function, well, those points are actually the maximums or minimums of this function. So if you find that f prime of x goes from being negative to positive past a critical point, then this critical point is a local minimum. And if f prime of x goes from positive to negative, this is a local maximum. Now, why does that occur? Because if we think about it, well, f prime of x is talking about whether the slope is decreasing or increasing, or the function is decreasing or increasing. So if we have a negative f prime of x, that means that we have something like this, and if we have something that is positive, then we have something that's going like that. So therefore, this is a minimum. Whereas if we have something that's increasing, we have something like that, and then past the point and it becomes decreasing, well, then that becomes a maximum. So now we're going to try to tackle a problem. Look at its steps to take before and how to solve a problem that asks us to determine the intervals of increase and decrease and the critical points. So the first thing that you want to do is find the derivative of f of x. And then the second thing that you want to do is solve f prime of x is equal to 0. So you find the zeros of the derivative. Now these points become the critical points of our original function f of x. So the next step that you want to do is create a table of values with the zeros found, and then find the f prime of x of a point before and after these critical points that we found. And then in the end, we determine whether the critical points are local minimums or maximums by looking at the change of signs of the derivative before and after the critical point. So if it goes from negative to positive, we know that it's a minimum. And if we know that it goes from positive to negative, then we know it's a maximum.